math learners. In this video, we will discuss about graphing quadratic functions. Our objectives are graph a quadratic function and give its domain and range. Determine the maximum value and minimum value of quadratic function. Okay, the graph of quadratic function is a curve called a parabola. So, ito yung itsura ng graph ng quadratic function. U-shape siya. At ang tawag sa kanya is parabola. Again, the graph of quadratic function is called parabola. To graph a quadratic function, generate enough ordered pairs to see the shape of the parabola. Then connect the points with a smooth curve. Okay, we have an example here. Use a table of values to graph a quadratic function. Okay, here we can use you can use table of values to graph a quadratic function. Make a table of values, choose values of x, and use them to find the values of y. Okay. Okay, we can write the x values here. Okay, 0 yung gitna, negative 1 yung sa taas, at negative 2 sa taas and negative 1. Then sa baba, positive 1 and positive 2. Okay, ang tanong, sa lahat ba ng form ng quadratic function applicable ito? The answer is no. It is only applicable with this kind of quadratic function. Na quadratic term lang yung given. Kapag given lahat ng term, for example, given yung quadratic term, given yung linear term, at given yung constant, okay, that would be different because hindi na magiging the same yung process. So, later on, I will teach you how to graph those kind of quadratic function. But here, kapag ganito lang yung form niya, we can, okay, write the values here in x. Okay, kagaya nito. 0 yung nasa gitna, negative 1 yung nasa taas, at negative 2 yung nasa taas ng negative 1. At sa baba, positive 1 at positive 2. Or pwede ding baliktad. Pwedeng nasa taas yung positive 1 at positive 2. Pwede yung nasa baba yung negative 1 at negative 2. Okay, it's up to you. Okay. After writing values in x, okay, substitute the value of x in the function. So, magiging ganito yung values niya. Okay, bakit 4/3 ang katapat dito sa negative 2 na value ng x? It is because negative 2 was substituted to x squared. So, naging 1/3 times negative 2 squared siya. Negative 2 squared is equal to positive 4. 1/3 times positive 4, it is positive 4/3. Then next, bakit naging 1/3 ang katapat dito sa negative 1? It is because negative 1 was substituted to x. So, naging 1/3 times negative 1 squared siya. Negative 1 squared is equal to 1. Then 1/3 times 1 is equal to 1/3. Then sa 0, dito sa y, ang katapat niya dito sa x is 0 din. Okay, why? It is because if we substitute 0 to x, so magiging 1/3 times 0 squared. 0 squared is equal to 0. Then 1/3 times 0 is equal to 0. Then next, bakit 1/3 ang katapat dito sa positive 1? It is because 1 was substituted to what? X. So, naging 1/3 times 1 squared. Okay? 1 squared is equal to 1. Then 1/3 times 1 is equal to 1/3. Okay. Lastly, bakit 4/3 ang katapat dito sa positive 2? It is because 2 was substituted in the x. So, naging 1/3 times 2 squared siya. 2 squared is equal to 4. 1/3 times 4 is equal to 4/3. Okay, graph the points, then connect the points with a smooth curve. So, ito na yung itsura ng graph niya. Okay, sa gitna is the 0, 0 coordinate or the point of origin. The next, 1 and 1/3, then 2 and 4/3. So, dito sa left side, negative 1, then 1/3, then negative 2, then 4/3. we have another example here. Use table of values to graph the quadratic function. Okay, the same pa rin yung process. Okay, maglagay ka ng value ng x, 0 yung nasa gitna. Okay, negative 1 yung nasa taas, negative 2 yung nasa taas ng negative 1, sa ilalim ng 0 is positive 1, then sa ilalim ng 1 is positive 2. Or pwede ding baliktad, no? Pwede mong isulat yung positive 1 sa taas ng 0, then 2 sa taas ng 1, then sa ilalim ng 0 is negative 1, then sa ilalim ng negative 1 is 0. Okay, ang tanong, applicable ba ito sa lahat? As to what I have said, applicable lang ito kapag yung given is quadratic term lang sa quadratic function. So, as to what you can see, hindi kompleto lahat. 'Di ba? Wala yung linear term at wala yung constant term. So, kapag ganito yung form niya, ganito yung gagawin natin. Automatically put 0 sa gitna, then negative 1 sa taas, then negative 2 sa ilalim, positive 1, then positive 2. Then, substitute the value of x in the function to find the values of y. So, ito na yung magiging values ng y. Okay, bakit negative 16 ang katapat ng negative 2? It is because negative 2 was substituted to x. So, naging negative 4 times negative 2 squared. Negative 2 squared is equal to positive 4. Negative 4 times 4, it is equal to negative 16. The next, bakit negative 4 ang katapat dito sa negative 1? It is because negative 1 was substituted to x. So, naging negative 4 times negative 1 squared siya. Negative 1 squared is equal to 1. Then, negative 4 times 1 is equal to negative 4. The next, bakit naging 0 ang katapat dito sa 0 ng x values? This is because 0 was substituted to x. So, naging negative 4 times 0 squared siya. So, 0 squared is equal to 0. Negative 4 times 0, it is equal to 0. That's why y is equal to 0. The next, bakit negative 4 din ang katapat dito sa 1? It is because 1 was substituted to x. So, naging negative 4 times 1 squared siya. 1 squared is equal to 1. Then, negative 4 times 1, it is equal to negative 4. And next, bakit negative 16 ang katapat dito sa positive 2? It is because 2 was substituted to x. So, naging negative 4 times 2 squared siya. 2 squared is equal to 4. Negative 4 times 4, it is equal to negative 16. Okay, after finding out the values of y, igagraph na natin yung ordered pairs. So, ito na yung magiging itsura ng parabola. So, kanina, upward yung opening ng parabola. Ngayon, downward naman. So, pwedeng upward yung opening ng parabola at pwedeng downward. Okay, later on, I will discuss kung bakit merong upward at merong downward na opening ng parabola. And I will also discuss kung paano natin malalaman kung upward ba or downward bang opening ng parabola without graphing the parabola. Okay. We have another example. Okay. Use a table of values to graph each quadratic function. Okay, the same pa rin yung process. Okay, kagaya pa rin ng kanina. Kaya ang tanong, applicable ba ito sa lahat? The answer is no. Okay, dito, since wala yung linear term, pwede nating gawin yung ginawa natin sa function na quadratic term lang yung given. Kapag quadratic term at constant term yung given, we can use this one. We can assign values to x na 0 yung sa gitna, negative 1 yung sa taas, at negative 2 yung sa taas ng 1, at sa ilalim is positive 1 at positive 2. Or pwede ding baliktad, positive 1 yung nasa taas at positive 2 yung nasa taas ng 1. Then, nasa ilalim naman yung negative numbers. So, here, applicable din ito sa ganitong klase ng quadratic function. But, sa quadratic function na kompleto lahat ng term, kompleto ang quadratic term, kompleto ang linear term, kompleto ang constant term, this will not be applicable. Understood? Okay. Next, let's substitute the values of x to the function so that we can find the values of y. So, ito na yung naging values ng y. Y 6 ang katapat ng negative 2. It is because negative 2 was substituted to x. Naging negative 2 squared plus 2 siya. Negative 2 squared, it is equal to positive 4 plus 2. Okay, it is equal to 6. That's why 6. The next, bakit 3? This because negative 1 was substituted to x. So, naging negative 1 squared plus 2. Negative 1 squared plus 2. Okay, negative 1 squared is equal to 1 plus 2, it is equal to 3. Okay, din itong 0. Okay, bakit 2 ang katapat itong 0? It is because 0 was substituted to x. 0 squared is equal to 0. Okay, plus 2. 0 plus 2 is equal to 2. Then, bakit 3 ang katapat ng 1? It is because 1 was substituted to x, naging 1 squared plus 2. 1 squared plus 2. Okay, 1 squared is equal to 1 plus 2, it is equal to 3. Okay, bakit 6 naman ang katapat dito sa 2? It is because 2 was substituted to x, naging 2 squared plus 2 siya. 2 squared is equal to 4 plus 2, it is equal to 6. Okay, notice na nag-iba yung key value dito sa y. Okay, sa ating previous example, 0 yung y. But dito, okay, naging 2 siya. It is because meron siyang constant term. The constant term is the y-intercept. Okay, ganito na yung itsura niya. Upward yung opening, then yung vertex is not in the point of origin. So, 2 upward siya. No? Ganyan yung mangyayari kapag merong constant term. Okay. 0, then 1. Ay, mali. 0, then 2. Then, positive 1, 3, positive 2, and 6. Then, negative 1, then positive 3, negative 2, then positive 6. Okay, ganito yung itsura ng graph niya. Okay, another one. Use a table of values to graph the quadratic function. Okay, the same pa rin kanina yung gagawin natin. We'll make a table of values, then assign values to x. Okay, dito, hindi kompleto yung quadratic function kasi wala yung linear term. Okay? So, applicable pa rin yung ginawa natin kanina na nag-assign tayo ng values which is 0 yung nasa gitna. Then, negative 1 yung nasa taas, negative 2 yung nasa taas ng negative 1, sa ilalim ng 0 is 1, sa ilalim ng 1 is 2. Or pwede ding baliktad. Then, let's substitute the values of x to the function so that we could get the values of y. So, ito na yung values ng y. Okay, the same pa rin yung process kagaya ng kanina. Okay, to find the values of y. Okay, after finding out the values of y, or the values of x and y, pwede na natin siyang i-graph. So, ito na. Okay, ito na yung graph niya. Okay, opens downward. Okay, as shown in the graphs in 2a and 2b, some parabolas open upward and some open downward. Notice that the only difference between the two equations is the value of a. When a quadratic function is written in the form y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, the value of a determines the direction a parabola opens. So, ang a pala ang magdetermine sa opening ng parabola. Okay. A parabola opens upward when a is greater than 0. Okay, ganito siya. Kapag positive yung a, it opens upward. Okay, a parabola opens downward when a is less than 0. Okay, kapag ang parabola negative, it opens downward. Okay, kagaya ng kanina. Okay, this one. Okay, let's go back. Okay, a is negative, that's why downward yung opening ng parabola. Okay, dito. A is positive, that's why upward yung opening ng parabola. Okay, go back to the example. Okay. Okay, identifying the direction of the parabola. Okay, tell whether the graph of the quadratic function opens upward or downward. Then explain. So here, okay, as to what I have said a while ago, if A is positive, then it opens upward. If A is negative, then it opens downward. So, you just need to look into the value of A para malaman natin kung saan mag-open yung parabola. So, here, the given function is y minus 1/3 x squared equals x minus 3. So, here, kailangan muna nating, okay, gawing standard form ang function. Okay, para malaman natin kung saan mag-open yung parabola. So, here, hindi siya standard form. So, kailangan muna natin siyang gawin standard form. You write the function in the form of y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, okay, which is the standard form of quadratic function by solving for y. Okay, we can only do this, okay, by solving for y. Okay, add 1/3 x squared both sides. So, para magawa natin siya, para ma-solve natin ang y, or para ma-transfer natin yung negative 1/3 x squared to the right side, we must add 1/3 both sides of the equation. Ito na. So, it is the application of the addition property of the equality. Okay, wherein na kapag mag-add ka ng isang value sa left side ng equation, mag-a-add ka rin sa right side. Okay, nag-add ako ng 1/3 x squared dito sa left side, nag-add din ako ng 1/3 x squared dito sa right side. So, 1/3 x squared plus 1/3 x squared, it will be 0, so crash out. Then x minus 3 plus 1/3 x squared, just copy 1/3 x squared, then copy plus x minus 3. So, ito na yung standard form ng quadratic function. Or we can apply the method of transposition na kapag kung gusto nating i-transfer ang isang value to the other side of the equation, we just need to change its sign. Okay? Just like this one. Okay, if we want to transpose negative 1/3 x squared to the right side, we can directly transfer it, but change the sign. Okay? Since negative 1/3 x squared siya, kapag ilipat natin sa right side, magiging positive 1/3 x squared siya. Okay? Then plus x minus 3. Okay. Then dito, we will determine if this function or this parabola opens upward or downward. Okay. Ang ating titingnan lang is the value of a. Ang a dito is 1/3. Okay. Kapag ang a is positive, it opens upward. And kapag ang a is negative, the parabola opens downward. Is 1/3 negative or positive? Okay, it is positive, so it opens upward kasi ang A is 1/3 and it is positive, so it opens upward. Okay, next. Tell whether the graph of the quadratic function opens upward or downward. Then explain. Okay, dito, ang gagawin natin, okay, write the function in the form of y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So, dito, iti-change na natin ang position ng 5x at minus 3x squared. So, dito, i-transfer na natin yung 5, mag-change position lang sila. So, magiging negative 3x squared plus 5x. Then, identify a. A is equal to negative 3. And as to what I have said a while ago, if a is negative, then it opens, then the parabola opens downward. Okay? Okay, kapag positive yung a, it opens upward. At kapag negative naman, it opens downward. Okay, next. Tell whether the graph of the quadratic function opens upward or downward. Okay, kapareha pa rin kanina. Okay, first, identify for A. A is equal to negative 4. Okay, yung A is, okay, the numerical coefficient of the quadratic term. Okay. So, A is equal to negative 4. So, the parabola opens downward. Kapag positive, upward. Kapag negative, downward. The next, tell whether the graph of the quadratic function opens upward or downward. Same pa rin kanina. Okay, we will determine if the parabola opens upward or downward. Okay? Downward ba o upward? Okay, the first step na gagawin natin is we'll write the function, okay, in the form of y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, which is the standard form of the quadratic function. So, here, kailangan nating, we should solve for y, okay, by transferring negative 5x squared dito sa right side. So, kailangan natin i-eliminate itong negative 5x squared. So, we can only do that by adding 5x squared both sides of the equation. Okay? It is the application of the addition property of equality wherein na kapag mag-add ako ng isang value to the left side, i-add ko rin siya sa right side ng equation. So, dito, negative 5x squared plus 5x squared, okay, cancelled out. It will be equal to 0. Then, dito, you just need to arrange it. Iuna nyo yung quadratic term. So, magiging y is equal to 5x squared plus 2x minus 6. Then, identify the value of a. A is equal to positive 5. Then, it opens upward kasi positive yung a. Okay, the highest or lowest point on a parabola is the vertex. Again, the highest or lowest point on a parabola is the vertex. If a parabola opens upward, the vertex is the lowest point. If parabola opens downward, the vertex is the highest point. Okay, itong vertex, ito yung dulo ng parabola. Kapag ang parabola opens upward, syempre, yung vertex nasa ilalim. Or siya yung pinakamababa na point. At kapag ang parabola naman opens downward, syempre, yung vertex nasa tuktok ng parabola. Siya yung pinakamataas na point. Okay. The minimum and maximum value. Okay. If a is greater than 0, the parabola opens upward. Okay. The y value of the vertex is the minimum value of the function. So, kapag upward yung opening ng parabola, the y value will be the minimum value. Again, merong minimum value kapag ang parabola opens upward. And the minimum value is the y value. And kapag ang parabola naman opens downward, the y value of the vertex is the maximum value of the function. Okay, magkakaroon lamang ng maximum value if the parabola opens downward. Okay, bakit maximum? Because the vertex is at the top of the parabola kapag it opens downward. Okay, nasa tuktok yung vertex kapag downward. So, ang tawag sa y value dito is the maximum value. At kapag upward naman yung opening ng parabola, okay, nasa pinakamababa na point yung vertex. So, ang y value will be the minimum value. Okay, yung minimum and maximum value, same lang. Y value sila lahat. But, magiging minimum lamang siya kapag ang opening is upward. At magiging maximum lamang siya kapag ang opening is downward. Okay. Dito naman tayo sa identifying the vertex and the minimum or maximum value of a quadratic function. Okay, identify the vertex of each parabola. Then give the minimum or maximum value of the function. Okay, meron tayong dalawang graph or meron tayong dalawang parabola dito, A and B. Okay, the vertex is negative 3, 2. So, bakit negative 3, 2? Okay. If we locate the point, So, nasa negative 3 siya and 2 coordinate. Okay. As to what I have said kanina, if parabola opens upward, then the y value will be the minimum. Magkakaroon naman ng minimum value if ang opening ng parabola is upward. So, the minimum value is 2. Okay, the y value. The next, we have letter B. So, ito yung itsura ng graph ng letter B. Ito yung parabola niya. It opens downward. So, let's identify the vertex. Nasa positive 2, then 5 coordinate siya. So, the vertex will be at point 2, 5. And as to what I have said kanina, if the parabola opens downward, then the y value will be the maximum. Magkakaroon lamang ng maximum value if the parabola opens downward. So, the maximum value will be the y value, which is 5. Okay, the same lang sila. Y value ang minimum, y value din ang maximum. But ang kaibahan lang is the opening of the parabola. Magkakaroon lamang ng minimum value if the parabola opens upward, and magkakaroon lamang ng maximum value if the parabola opens downward. The next, okay, identify the vertex of each parabola, then give the minimum or maximum value of the function. The same kanina. First, locate the vertex. Okay, it opens downward, then the vertex is negative 2, then 5. Okay, the vertex is at point negative 2, 5. And as what I have said, magkakaroon lamang ng maximum value if the parabola opens downward kasi nasa tuktok yung vertex. So, maximum siya. Then, the maximum value will be the y value, which is 5. The next, dito naman tayo sa letter B. Okay, the vertex will be, okay, let's locate the vertex. Okay, nasa 3, negative 1 siya. And the parabola opens upward. So, nasa pinakailalim yung vertex. Okay, the vertex is 3, negative 1. And as to what I have said, if the parabola opens upward, then magkakaroon siya ng minimum value. And the minimum value will be the y value, which is negative 1. Okay, unless a specific domain is given, you may assume that the domain of the quadratic function is all real numbers. You can find the range of a quadratic function by looking at its graph. So ngayon, we will discuss or we will proceed to domain in range of quadratic function. Ano nga ba ang domain at ano nga ba ang range? Pag sinabi nating domain, it refers to x values na pwede nating i-input sa parabola or sa quadratic function. Pag sinabi nating range, it refers to y values na pwedeng i-input sa quadratic function. Okay, meron tayong given parabola dito and the vertex is 2, 1 and it opens upward. For the graph of y is equal to x squared minus 4x plus 5, the range begins at the minimum value of the function. Again, the range begins at the minimum value. Take note of that. Where y is equal to 1. Okay? It begins with the minimum value. Okay, all the y values of the function are greater than or equal to 1. So, the range is y is greater than or equal to 1. Again, the range begins at the minimum value of the function where y is equal to 1. So, in finding the range, we'll always base on the y value or the maximum and the minimum value of the function. Okay, all the y values of the function are greater than equal to 1. So, the range is y is greater than or equal to 1. Okay, bakit greater than or equal to 1? It is because the parabola opens upward rather. Kapag upward, it is always greater than equal. At kapag downward naman, we will use less than equal. Okay? Okay, dito, and the domain is all real numbers. Okay? You may assume that the domain of a quadratic function is all real numbers. Okay, here the domain is all real numbers. Okay, find the domain in range. Okay, we have a graph here. It opens downward kanina. It opens upward. Ngayon, it opens downward na naman. Okay, step 1, graph. The graph opens downward, so identify the maximum. So, dito, the maximum is the y value. Okay, what will be the maximum? Okay, let's locate the y values. It is negative 3. Okay, the vertex is negative 5, negative 3. So, the maximum is negative 3. Okay, take note na sa paghanap ng range, we always base on the maximum value or minimum value ng parabola. Okay, find the domain and range. Okay. Okay, the domain is always all real numbers. Again, the domain is all real numbers, and y, or the range, is y is less than equal negative 3. Okay, bakit less than equal? Kasi the parabola opens downward. At kapag upward naman siya, we will use greater than equal, just like the previous example. Okay, dito, since it opens downward, we use y is less than equal negative 3. Okay, as to what I have said a while ago, we always base on the maximum or minimum value. Okay? Okay, find the domain and range. Okay, step 1, the graph opens upward, so identify the minimum value. Okay, again, kapag upward yung opening ng parabola, minimum value yung y. Magkakaroon naman ng minimum value if the parabola opens upward. So, the vertex is negative 2, negative 4. So, the minimum value is negative 4. Take note that we always base on the minimum or maximum value of parabola in finding the range. Step 2, find the domain in range. Okay, just like kanina, the domain is all real numbers. And the range, okay, since the parabola opens upward, we'll use the greater than equal sign. Okay, y is greater than equal negative 4, which is the minimum value. Okay, kapag it opens upward, kapag it opens downward, we'll use less than equal. And kapag it opens upward, we'll use greater than equal. Then, negative 4, which is the minimum value. Okay, another example. First, okay, identify the maximum. Maximum siya kasi it opens downward. Okay, the vertex is 2, 3. So, the maximum is 3. Take note that we always base on the minimum or the maximum value in finding the range. Step 2, find the domain in range. Okay, the domain are all real numbers. And since the parabola opens downward, we'll use the sign less than equal. So, y is less than equal 3, which is the y value or the maximum value.